The Hawaiian Moving Company is proudly sponsored by Hawaii's #1 chocolates, Hawaiian Host.
Hi, I'm Michael W. Perry. Welcome to the best of the Hawaiian Moving Company. You know, for the past 2 decades, we've been bringing you the people and places that make Hawaii so special. And through the years, you've told us about your favorite stories on the Moving Company. Well, stay with us. We've got a bunch of them. Oh, let's see. I said people and places. Don't let me forget a Moving Company tradition. Pets.
Meet Matt Holk. Matt is the owner of this proud pooch, Girl. Just by looking at her, you wouldn't think that this pit bull terrier mix is one of the most unique pups in Hawaii, but she is. You see, Girl is a deep diving dog.
Come on, Dad. Is it alright if you go swimming for a while?
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, right off the bat, you figured out that Girl is no normal dog, especially since her favorite playthings are rocks. Well, when we heard what this crazy canine could do, it was something we just had to see for ourselves. I mean, a dog that swims is no big deal. Lots of dogs swim. But a dog that will swim to the bottom of your pool, well, that's something else.
Well, it started with her mother. Her mother would go as far as how far she can touch the bottom with her feet is how far she would dive. And Girl picked it up quickly. She always went to the beach or wherever we go, so she's first thing to the water. That's her first priority, to get to the water.
Come on, Girl.
In my parents' swimming pool, we threw the rock in the shallow end, and she would go down in the shallow end with no problem until one day the rock rolled down to the deep end, and she followed it to the bottom. That's the way we found out she can go so deep.
To see for ourselves, we put her to the test by rolling the rock down to the big end, just to see how she'd do.
Get him, Girl. Get him, Girl. Get him. Yeah, it's rolling down.
Now, Matt tells us that Girl's deep diving record so far is 15 feet down, and it took her about 45 seconds underwater. Not bad.
I would have the most unique dog in Hawaii up until the point where somebody can say their dog can match that or better it.
Go get him.
I think we'll have to agree with that. Townies aren't the only ones with talented tail waggers. We're off to Oahu's countryside now to find another water lover.
Come on, Shane, this way. Come back here.
Just about anybody who's ever ridden a surfboard has heard of Rel's son. As a past world champion, she's been ranked in the world's top 5 women surfers for the last 14 seasons. She's been surfing for the past 33 years, and she's basically the queen of Makaha Beach. Well, right when you think that Rel's done it all, she'll throw you a curve, because now she's into a new kind of tandem surfing.
Come on, Shane. Jump. Warm up. Come on. Warm up, Shane. Higher.
Shane is more famous than I am now, and now that we've been in the National Enquirer, I don't know. His head's kind of too big for the tube now.
Yep. Her new partner is Shane, the 4-legged surf hound that got him national press and is also one of Hawaii's only surfing dogs.
Come on.
This is what Rel would consider a perfect dog day afternoon. A 3 to 5 foot day at Makaha, light trades making for clean offshore conditions. It doesn't take any coaxing to get Shane out there either. He knows a good day when he sees one, and he's just as anxious to head for the break as Rel is.
great desire to be a surfer, so of course he's going to be a good surfer. And we tell him stories about his great past. His mother was a trapeze dog, and his father was a famous circus dog, and he believes it, and so he knows he's good at something. His family, he's got it in his roots. Well, when you see a dog crack a smile and all those lines, you know greater intelligence in surfing for dogs.
So what is she going to come up with next? We'll just have to wait and see. But leave it to Rel's son to make waves with her big board buddy. A buddy who must think that having a leash for humans is a great invention. People and pets all over the world seem to like to do things Hawaiian style, so we weren't surprised when we found another precocious pup on a trip to Australia.
Gonna come for Skype?
Nugget claims to be the only skateboarding dog in the world. This 4.5-year-old bull terrier's been hanging 20 on her board for about 4 years now, way before Spuds McKenzie even got popular. She and her master both live in the little town of Manly, and the best part of the day for Nugget is when she and Neil hit the sidewalks of Manly Beach. Now, pushing and riding the board, that's all pretty good, but it's just kid stuff. Everybody knows that any real rider can handle slopes and curves, right? So can Nugget, and with incredible style.
Three of the doggonedest dogs we ever met. Hey, you know, we've done over 2,000 stories on the moving company through the years, and we've met all kinds of interesting people. But the ones you're about to meet are some of the most adventurous of the bunch.
Today, up on the scenic slopes on the backside of Haleakala, it's another typical weekend roundup on the Pereira Ranch. With 15,000 acres and 4,000 head of cattle, there's plenty of work to be done on this ranch land in Kahiki Nui, Maui. Annette Niles is the real Paniolo of the family. She was raised on her dad's farm, this farm, and she knows all the ins and outs of this difficult lifestyle. Her family's been ranching this side of the mountain for the past 20 years, but it was this year that their way of cattle wrangling hit new heights. Now, there are plenty of local ranchers that use helicopters for driving cattle these days. On this ranch alone, there are thousands of acres to cover, and that could take days by horse or even motorcycle. But by air, it can be done in a fraction of the time, and it takes only a couple of people. The biggest problem these days isn't that there's so much area to cover. It's that some of these wild dogies here have strayed way up and off the Pereira land and onto state land. Some of these 1,200-pound monsters have been roaming around for years, and the state says if they're not removed from public land, they will be forced to eradicate them on the spot. However, since the bulls don't know what that means, they have no intention of leaving their favorite feeding grounds.
It's too dangerous to go up with the horses and bring them down because they want to hook the horses. They don't want to come down. They fight us up there. So rather than getting hurt, we bring them down with the helicopter.
So while Annette waits back at the truck, her husband Kimo and his close friend and pilot Tom prepare to bring some of these wayward, trespassing cattle home by airmail.
We got a stubborn bull one day that wouldn't go anywhere and tried to hook the helicopter horns, and he kept jumping up trying to horn the helicopter.
So Tom called me over and said, hey, let's try rope him on the horns.
Kimo jumped out on the skid, threw a rope on its horns, and hauled him off.
So from that day on, we did it, and we've been doing them since.
Well, not all of these animals have horns. They all have legs, and Tom and Kimo discovered that roping these steers by a foot doesn't hurt them at all. As soon as Kimo manages to get the rope nice and tight, it's up and away for a quick ride back to the truck. Good time for Kimo and his furry friend to take in some of the breathtaking scenery.
Oh, the chopper's coming. Let's go. Yeah, come on. Yeah, here. Oh, this is really exciting for the family. We come out here and we have a picnic and we wait for them to bring the bulls down and watch them bring them in and how they bring them in. It's lots of fun.
Tom carefully lays them unharmed in the truck bed before unhooking them. And then it's up to Annette to see these wild critters don't hurt themselves. Kimo and Tom waste no time in heading back to the slope for another catch. Now, as you can imagine, roping and transporting a wild, mean 1,200-pound bull isn't the easiest thing in the world to do. It takes plenty of patience, a little bit of luck, and lots of teamwork.
Tom positions me on the side of the animal, and I have my loop already made. And what I've noticed is the stride of the animal also. Sometimes it's good to make a big loop, sometimes it's not. What Tom does is turns them uphill, slows them down. But sometimes, it's more difficult. Sometimes, depends on the shot you got.
With 20 years of flying under his belt, this Vietnam vet is a well-known pilot in the islands. Now, he's had all sorts of flying adventures in Hawaii, but this is one of the strangest, and also one of the most challenging for him.
When you see this nasty bull there that's not going anywhere for anybody, and they won't even move for the helicopter. They'll just sit there and defy and jump up and try to horn the helicopter. There's no other way they can be handled. You just hover over them, drop a rope over their head, pick them up, and they become like angels instantly. And within a couple of minutes, they're in the truck.
Tom, he's the best I've ever seen, and I wouldn't do it with nobody else, and I built up enough confidence with him. When I go on there with Tom, there's no fear anymore.
By the end of the day, the truck is full, the family's happy, and they've retrieved about a dozen bulls. It's not the old way of doing it, but it sure seems to work pretty well.
A lot of the cowboys, the old-timers and stuff, they couldn't believe it. I had one cowboy came last week, and he told me, he came up to me after we roped the first one. He came up, shook our hands, and said, "Seeing is believing."
Absolutely true. Seeing is believing. I never would have guessed a cow could fly, but now, because of Maui's helicopter Paniolos, it appears they can. There have been lots of folks who've done some pretty radical things for the Hawaiian Moving Company cameras. But we'd have to say Gus Rouse from Kona is right up there with the best of them. Deep in the lush green fields of the Kona coast on the Big Island, you'll find one of Hawaii's most unique farmers. At first glance, you might think the Kona Queen Company raises honey, or even pollen with all the bees they have flying around. But their business is much more specialized. As a matter of fact, Kona Queens raises just what their name implies, queen bees. And they raise them for other happy honey and pollen farmers all over the world.
The queen is the soul of the beehive. All the bees in that colony are her offspring. So through her bloodline, she's controlling their productivity, their disease resistance, their temperament, and that's why they're important.
Gus Rouse is the #1 uncontested king of Kona's queens. He's been tending these flying honeymakers for about 8 years now. And as one of Hawaii's bee experts, he tends more than 6 million bees. That helps to make him the largest exporter of queen bees in the world.
During our busy season, because we're handling so many bees, we're bound to grab 6 or 7 through the day, or make another 6 or 7 of them angry at us. So I would say an average day we're going to get 10 or 12 bee stings, but we scratch the stingers out immediately, and it's not a problem. We were immune to the venom. We take a lot of stings. It's not that it doesn't hurt. It hurts, but it doesn't hurt for long.
Now, just to prove to us that he has the most laid-back bees in town, Gus volunteered to make us a bee beard. If bees can crawl all over his face and not sting him, then they must be pretty easygoing, right? So what Gus does is he has his wife tie a queen under his chin. That attracts all the other bees from the hive, and hopefully they won't attack him. Since the bees were a little slow in getting to the queen, Gus had his wife speed things up a little bit by shaking a few thousand bees on his shirt. That way, they couldn't miss.
Most people do believe that if you look at some of these bees like this, they're just going to fly in their face, but I think it just has to do with a bee sting is painful, whether you step on a foraging bee or you approach a colony, but it's not true. They're like most creatures, they protect their home, but bees in the field, they don't want any trouble. They're just trying to go about their duties. If you step on one on the lawn, it's not comfortable, but it's not necessarily considered a bee attack.
With thousands of bees hanging all the way from his ear to his stomach, we'd say that's proof enough. Gus indeed has some of the most docile bees in the islands. What do you think? Okay, we've told you about the whirlybirds and the bees, but a lady named Aipu Tutai from the Cook Islands has a talent she can really sink her teeth into. While most island folks have learned that a sharp stick or a machete is always handy for the tiresome task of coconut husking, Aipu has refined her tool-free technique into an art. Now she's known worldwide as Wonder Woman, the only female on the planet who can clear out any coconut husk with her teeth.
When I start, the front part of the coconut is very hard to open, but it depends on your teeth, how strong they are.
Obviously, no coconut husk is strong enough to face this challenge, and once Aipu sinks her teeth into the job, it seems to get easier and easier.
When I hear the drums beating, that gives me the power and the strength to do it. So I go.
With husk and hair flying, from the coconut that is, the Wonder Woman relieves the once secure coconut of its mighty defenses piece by piece, all the while being careful not to cut her lip on the hard exterior. She also keeps her tongue out of the way because she doesn't want to bite it by mistake. The
clincher to all of this is that the networks found out about Aipu from the moving company, so you may be seeing more of her on TV. From the adventurous, we move to the inspirational, and there is nobody more memorable than the University of Hawaii's Kathleen Beimel. In 1984, we introduced you to a very special person, Kathleen Beimel. She'd broken her neck in a freak cheerleading accident working out with the UH squad.
I landed and I said, I can't move my legs. I can't feel anything in my legs. And it was scary, but I knew that I couldn't panic, you know. And I could reach over and touch my leg, but I couldn't feel anything. You know, I could feel it in my hand, but not in my leg. It was no feeling at all.
The medical outlook for Kathleen's recovery was slim. Her doctors felt she didn't have much of a chance to ever walk again, but they didn't know just how determined Kathleen was.
Even though the doctors told me, you know, well, it doesn't look good, I don't think you're going to get much better, I was like, oh yes I am, you know, and I'm not a quitter, and I think if I've got God on my side and I've got me on my side, that, you know, there's no stopping me.
We believed in this lady's determination, so the moving company followed Kathleen's progress and watched as she left the hospital under her own power, just like she said she would. Kathleen's progress was amazing, and we soon caught up with her giving instruction to aspiring cheerleaders at McKinley High School. And all this time, she had just one thing on her mind.
I want to cheer for University of Hawaii, the first football game next year. More than anything.
In 1985, her dream came true. It was hard to miss Kathleen Beimel's shining face back on the sidelines, rooting with the squad, not just for them.
I feel great. I'm back to where I wanted to be. I told everybody last year that I'll be back for the first football game, and I was back, and it feels great. It's been very hard. It's been very trying, a lot of challenges, but you know, you learn how to face challenges and how to deal with them, and that's the main thing. If you have to learn how to make the best of a situation and not the worst. One of the very neatest things that happened was when I got to walk across the field at last year's homecoming. The crowd here, the whole stadium stood for me, and to have that much support really, really made me feel good inside, and it made me feel like I had to keep going, I had to continue to get better for them as well as for myself.
If you meet Kathleen, you'll find her enthusiasm for life is contagious. With that kind of attitude, nothing is impossible.
And we do have a Kathleen update. She got married, moved to the mainland, continues to run, and of course there's no sedentary desk job for Kathleen. Oh no, she's a forest ranger and walks to work every day. Okay, from inspiration to perspiration. The folks you're about to meet have so much fun in the Hawaii sun, we couldn't leave them out.
Because it's good fun.
Good relaxation, good spot. Yeah, you just get dirty and stuff and you have a lot of fun, you know.
Just to have fun.
Every Sunday up near Mililani, these folks all get together to do their favorite thing. Drive pipe buggies. These immaculate, shiny machines get pushed to the limit every weekend. And what looks like showroom material now, you wouldn't even let in your garage at the end of the day. These folks specialize in playing hard and playing dirty. And we mean dirty. So they take extra care in readying their buggies to go where no feisty four-wheeler's ever gone before.
not a racing thing. It's just an enjoyment thing. We just cruise through the trails.
A lot of guys like fishing, a lot of guys like just riding around on Sundays. Us guys, this is a different type of sport.
The women can do just as well as guys can.
But whether it's going up hills, through the woods, down an old military tunnel in the mountain, or down a straightaway, there seems to be one place where these folks get wilder than any other, and that is the mud hole.
Once you get in the mud, you're an entirely different person. Okay? You're just like a little kid, in other words. That's the way I feel. I don't know about the rest. I'm just like a little kid. I bring my kids. I don't have sailors for my kids, so I just bring my kids along. Lock them up in their seat belts in the back seats.
We take wives, kids, family affair, you know, aunties, uncles, grandmas, if they like come.
We get really muddy when we get in there. They have fun. They enjoy it.
You don't even hear the noise. You're just having fun bouncing around.
Because it's good fun.
So if you like cars, speed, and excitement, or just a lot of fun, Hawaii's dirtiest sport, pipe buggying, might just be what you're looking for. Now, while these folks just love getting down and dirty, the next kid you're about to meet is not only much cleaner, he has a talent that stacks up against anybody on earth.
Hey, come on, you guys. We got a softball game. We're going to start in a little bit. So we're going to do a little cup stack demonstration for the people here, okay?
We get to practice.
Yep, we're going to work it out right now.
Wayne Godinay is a guy who's making a name for himself these days. With his band of talented tykes, he's in the process of traveling the country and exposing as many people as possible to a completely new kind of fun.
I'm loosening up with 363, okay? Just basic. Do it in relays, just like you do in school, okay? Matthew will work on some techniques here. Matt, why don't you start off?
Now, it's actually an incredibly simple concept and takes no special skills to learn, but it does take quite a bit of practice to become a world champion, like 9-year-old Matt Adami.
Hold it up a little bit.
Before cut stacking, I was always getting in trouble, but now with cut stacking, I'm better at baseball, football, and basketball, and I can do anything I want to do now.
Now, this is not a terribly intellectual pursuit. You take these plastic cups, you stack them, you unstack them, and there you have it. It only gets tough when you follow different patterns, try to do it without any mistakes, and increase your speed.
I've seen kids who ordinarily would have been picked last on a baseball or football team or a basketball team get involved with cup stacking, become pretty good at it, and at the same time increase their self-esteem, their eye-hand coordination, their self-discipline, and their development from a physical standpoint. Cup stacking is in over 40 states, boys and girls clubs throughout the country, and also in elementary schools.
Hawaii's first mass amazement at cup stacking came before a recent benefit softball game for the Hawaii Boys and Girls Club. Wayne, the local boy now transplanted in California, pitted his 3 nieces from Kauai, plus superstar Matthew, against some novice stackers. The crowd at Cook Field looked on. First group through the moves wins.
Okay. Cup stackers on your mark. Get set, go. Okay. Let me ask you a competition.
I got fast by practicing in like 30 minutes a day and doing 21 cup stacks, 21 cycles a day, and that's how I became a pro.
Matthew will be the first one to tell you he'd never thought he'd travel to Hawaii to entertain all these people. But as Wayne always tells him, hard work pays off. And cup stacking can change your life. Now, while Wayne's sport is definitely a solo endeavor, two best friends from the North Shore have found a way to double team the Diamond Head waves. Steve Villager and Craig Yester have been sailing over Hawaii's waves for a combined total of 20 years. Craig, a world-class pro, and Steve, the owner of Hawaii Surf and Sail, have been best buddies for years, and they're always up for a good challenge. So they decided to single-handedly revolutionize the wave-jumping sport of windsurfing. They decided to cut a 13-foot board, mount two 16-foot masts on it, and instantly turn this solo sport into tandem trouble.
The sport of wave sailing by itself is incredible, but now that you're doing it with your best friend, you're out there on a board that's not much bigger, twice as much power. I can't believe we didn't think of it sooner.
They call their creation the Dominator, and they've definitely dominated the attention of spectators since they have the only board of its kind in the world. They put a value of $5,000 on the rig, but for its value and fun, well, that's priceless.
Being out there, just being 4 feet away from your buddy, out there riding a 5, or 10-foot wave going 30 miles an hour, you just start laughing, and it's so much fun. You got twice as much speed, twice as much power, and you got your buddy there with you, and you're just laughing the whole time.
Obviously, the reward for Craig and Steve is the incredibly good time they're having on their new invention. Right now, their Dominator is dominating the sport, monopolizing it actually, since they're the only ones on any waves anywhere doing this. But look out, if it catches on, we could see a bunch of single sailors turning to double trouble.
Well, the tandem windsurf concept really never took off, but Steve and Craig had a good time doing it. And if double-masted windsurfers are your idea of memorable, wait till you see what we've got for you next. It's probably the most remembered moving company story ever. You see, we've taken you all over Hawaii and the Pacific Rim, but that trip to Palau, an island nation in the Pacific, is one we'll never forget.
Palau is a small nation in Micronesia made up of several large islands and surrounded by about 70 smaller ones. These rock islands are this community's greatest visual commodity and deliver really stunning views for tourists and locals alike. On nearly every island, in most of the fruit trees, you can find some of the biggest and, yes, tastiest bats in the world. And one well-placed shot is enough to get the water boiling back home. We were told that one of the best bat soup cooks in all of Palau worked here at the Carp Restaurant. Hiroko Kishigawa has been running this restaurant for years, and today her soup du jour will be bat, one of her specialties. Our friends had delivered the main course a little earlier for us, and Hiroko had started some of the preparatory work when we arrived. She'd boiled the bat for about 2 hours. That sterilizes it since you don't clean this thing. Just plunk it in whole. After boiling, you have some mighty good bat broth, but it needs just a little seasoning. So she takes the well-cooked bat out and puts it aside, and then adds fresh coconut juice, as well as a cup of fresh coconut milk, a couple tablespoons of salt, and just a dash of Ajinomoto. You know, this could be pretty tasty. Of course, experienced chefs always sample their culinary works of art while they're in progress. Now, with the soup base simmering away, it's time to prepare the main ingredient. And when you slice the bat, it's important to leave the head intact. See, the head plays an important part in the final presentation of your entree. Next, the wings are prepared, and they're added to the soup. And then a special touch for the heartiest of soup connoisseurs. The heart itself is removed and added separately for individual enjoyment. Julia Child never did this. A few more chops with the knife, and the rest of the bat is ready for the soup. The anticipation mounts as we have just a few more ingredients remaining. Half a chopped onion, a dash of pepper, then the one special ingredient that Hiroko does not usually disclose. This is the one secret additive that makes her bat soup a little more special than the run-of-the-mill bat soup. She adds the juice of half a miniature orange. She reminds us that just half is important, not the whole thing. Now the final product simmers for just a moment, and then it's ready to serve. And Hiroko takes just a little special care here to make sure the aesthetics are right. I think she just asked us how it looked. And it's ready. The special guest is served the best portion first. He likes it. So the next time you visit some friends in Micronesia and you're not sure what's for dinner, you better think twice about sitting at the head of the table. You could be served something very interesting.
Well, bat soup will probably never be on the menu at Roy's, but in Palau it's still number one. All right, let's get off to Maui. We have some more unusual critters for you to meet. For some folks in Hawaii, living with animals is just a way of life. And without a doubt, one of those animal-loving types is Maui's Malia Rodriguez. At age 25, she's found a way to spend her days away from traffic, away from congestion, but very close to all sorts of furry little fellas.
I've always loved animals. I've never known anything different. I've been raised around them all my life, and this is what I do.
Even though she's lived on the same piece of upcountry property nearly all her life, it wasn't until recently that Malia found a way to make her livestock lifestyle pay for itself. She says it was sometime after the 100th neighbor asked to touch one of her cute critters that she realized she had something unique.
Probably the most unusual animal we have here is Pili and Pono, our fainting goats, and their new daughters Gizmo and Twitch. You spook them and they fall over. They're the only type of animals like this in the world, I believe.
Fainting goats? Yep, the only fainting goats in Hawaii. These black and white beauties have a very peculiar ability. If you catch them just right and scare them just a little, they freeze up solid and hit the ground. It seems that over hundreds of generations, these goats learned that some predators would stop chasing them if they played dead. So genetically, it became the survival of the flattest.
One thing I hope these kids go home with is a love and understanding of the animals that I have. If they do, then I've accomplished what I've set out to do, and that would make me feel great.
So whether the kids spend their time finding out what it's really like to be a turkey or just watching a goat faint, they all seem to be captivated with the concept, and they can't wait to come back and do it again.
Now, one of Malia's neighbors up the road also has some critters that are getting a lot of attention. And to find the Pruker family farm, just follow your nose. It's a typical day at one of Hawaii's not-so-typical farms. Yes, the Happy Hula Pig Farm in Kula, Maui started out with 3 little piggies 30 years ago. Now it's turned into a 1,500-head pig plantation. And now the team of Dr. Louis Pruker and son Ron are, well, happy as pigs in mud.
10 or 15 years ago, we realized that we had a real problem with our waste. It was going down in the gully, contaminating the surrounding land, so we decided that we were going to do something about it. We corralled the manure, and we created energy out of it.
Okay, here's how it goes. After every meal, each of the pens gets hosed down. Some even automatically flush themselves. Using a gravity feed system, everything's washed downhill through a maze of pipes and troughs and empties out here. This 4,000-gallon holding tank is chock full of what will soon turn into porker power. Yeah, after it sits in this tank, it's transferred to the much larger main digester. Under these floating covers, you'll find 60,000 gallons of a particularly potent pig product. And as it bubbles day in and day out, what's rising to the surface is the methane gas. It'll make them money.
The principle of methane gas is an old principle known for centuries. It's the bacterial action on animal waste. Our problem was how could we corral this methane gas and use it for our own purpose.
All they have to do now is pump the gas up to the generator and hit the switch. Running up to 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, this 20-kilowatt generator creates enough electricity to run half the farm, saving the Prukers up to $500 a month from the electric company.
Whenever we use hot water or flip a switch and put on our lights, I feel like Thomas Edison. We get all this energy out of hog manure.
It's hard to believe that this herd of oinkers can do more than just fill up an emu. But with a little thought and ingenuity, these Maui folks are not only saving precious resources, but helping to recycle as well. And for folks who didn't know any better, one whiff of the place would probably be a sour reminder of why they are not in the pig business. But for the Prukers, their noses recognize the sweet smell of success. Okay, we'll let the Pruker pigs wallow in their happiness as we head back to Oahu to meet an unusual big city kitty. It's yet another beautiful day on Waikiki Beach, and as usual, Shirley Vidmar is out enjoying Hawaii.
I love the ocean, I love to swim, and every day I go to Waikiki.
Shirley's a fashion designer, originally from Slovenia, and she's making waves in Waikiki these days. And the commotion really has nothing to do with fashion, and everything to do with Sweetie.
First time I took Sweetie to the ocean, to the beach, and not only think she liked the beach, she also liked the water.
Sweetie's a 9-year-old calico cat who, for some strange reason, loves the water. It seems that over millions of years, cat DNA has been programmed to be anti-water, except for drinking. Well, Sweetie's obviously a meowing mutant.
Yeah, most cats don't like the water. They would panic. But my cat is just opposite. She loves it.
But the adventures of Sweetie don't just end a few feet from shore. It seems that Sweetie is a surfing cat.
and Beach Boy Blaine Vook is her favorite tandem surfing companion these days.
I've been surfing with a lot of people all over the world, but this is the first time I've ever surfed with a cat.
Well, looks like Sweetie, with help from Blaine, is destined for surfing stardom. And Shirley says if she'd only known this when she first got Sweetie, she would have named her Duke.
The surfing cat is immortalized forever. Hey, thanks for joining us on a journey through 20 years of Hawaiian Moving Company highlights. And while we get ready for Volume 2, don't forget to join us every single Sunday night on KGMB for stuff you'll only see on the Hawaiian Moving Company.
At Hawaiian Host, we take the freshest macadamia nuts we can find and dry roast them to perfection. Then cover them with a delicious blend of rich chocolates or smooth caramel to create products of incomparable taste and quality. Perfect combinations of the finest ingredients that have become a continual source of pleasure to millions of satisfied customers. Hawaiian Host, Hawaii's gift to the world.
The Hawaiian Moving Company is proudly sponsored by Hawaii's #1 chocolates, Hawaiian Host.